Hello everybody, welcome to another reading. I said last time that I was going to focus more on mysteries, conspiracy theories, and things that occupy the mind. And today we're going to be looking at the Madeleine McCann case because we have had a new development recently. Somebody got arrested, a new suspect has entered the fray. Real quick, if you don't know what this is all about, which I find unlikely, but it's possible. There's people out there that don't know anything about it. Madeleine McCann is the eldest daughter of the McCanns, two doctors who went on holiday with their 3 children to Portugal. And during their holiday, the child ended up disappearing one night when they were all out having dinner and the kids were at the apartment. And suddenly they went to check on them and she was no longer there. And so she hasn't been seen since, and there's been all sorts of theories about where she is, what happened to her, who did what, who knows what, etc. And since we have the new development, I figure it would be a good time for a new reading on the subject. I'm going to start with the Crow Tarot deck. Here it is, if you ever want this deck for yourself, the Crow Tarot deck. Particularly because it first of all jumped out at me, I wanted to use that deck. Also, crows are good messengers. And if I want anything clarified, I'm just going to use the Deviant Moon Tarot deck, which is a deck all about the moon. And as you know about the moon, in tarot usually the moon has hidden things that it will put on display. And I think that deck will help clarify things, shining the light of the moon on them. Before we get started, I already pre-shuffled the deck, but I'm not going to just pull cards. I'm going to shuffle live as well to try and get the cards to fall out themselves, because I read intuitively. I don't have a certain pattern that I put down. I just pull cards, or at least the cards will fall out as they will, and then we'll take a look at what happens, and that's it. Also, since I am an amateur reader, if you see a certain combination of cards in here that tells you one thing in particular that your intuition is telling you this is what it means, make sure to post that in the comment section as well, because people have different ideas about what different cards mean. And if you're wondering about the lighting, the sun is constantly going behind clouds and coming back out, so the lighting may occasionally change. But okay, that's another thing. Let's just get started shuffling and then we'll see what we get. Okay, what do we have here? This is the 7 of Wands. Okay, so that's the first one to join us. Also, we have here Judgments. Also a nice card to join us, because there has been a lot of judgment. Now, the 7 of Wands is a card that basically says people are coming for your position. If you look at the card as well, you've got this one crow at the top. He's got the best place in the area, and there's a bunch of crows coming up with their wands trying to take it. And next to Judgment over here, if I can grab it, this looks a lot like people are trying to oust certain people out as well, not just oust. Basically thinking that they know better. They've had their judgments about them all along. This looks kind of like people coming for the parents. So what this my first reaction is to this combination of cards. Like, they're the parents sitting at the top, they have a certain position, they have certain ideas, and they've said a lot of things, and people are trying to counteract that by coming up there with their own thoughts, suggestions, and theories, and also calling for a lot of judgment in that as well at the same time. They're being judged quite heavily, as you would expect. Okay, so the next one that came out, one of the two, is the 10 of Swords, which is a lot of Darkest Before the Dawn. This is a very dramatic card. I think this might also be what a person would feel like if they were being persecuted, or they felt like they were being persecuted. So far what I'm seeing, it looks like how the parents might be feeling, for better or for worse, or whether they're right and wrong in feeling that way, I don't know. But we're seeing people coming for them, people judging them, and also feeling very much put down upon. Here is the Page of Swords. Alright, so it's in reverse. Now the page energy is very adolescent male energy, masculine in that sense. And they're really itching to go, and this says to me that people are saying things without really thinking about it. Like, oh my god, just throwing stuff out there, seeing what'll stick, perhaps being very aggressive, a very keyboard warrior type thing is what I'm looking at here. People may have been saying things without thinking or considering that words might actually hurt. And we don't really know the situation, so people are probably saying lots of things that have been very hurtful to everybody involved, pretty much, and without really thinking about is what this card is saying. So far this is the parents' perspective, what we're seeing over here. Let's see what else we can get. Oop, lots of cards. Seven of Pentacles. Now, Seven of Pentacles usually like, oh, you're on the right track, doing the right things to basically get the profit that you want. But since it's in reverse, there's a question there whether that is indeed the case. This looks like mismanaging things, mismanaging money. Maybe that nest over there is not quite so full. Perhaps there has been a lot of money wasted on things. I do recall something real quick off the top of my head that they were paying for somebody to do some investigating, and that didn't turn out very well. I believe they ran off with the money as well. So they'll have a lot of that going on as well. People profiting off of the situation in ways that are not ethical. And also here we have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups upright is usually just a childhood memory thing. And I think this is more of a, wouldn't say childhood lost, but something along those lines. Like, okay, the childhood for, I think maybe the other two, we don't know anything about the younger two. They're like several years older now too. They're probably old enough to realize what's happened to their older sister. I think this is a card saying that it's had quite an influence on them as well. As much as the parents may have been trying to keep them out of it, it's not really been very great for them. We're getting a lot of general information about the situation of the McCanns here. Maybe we'll use the Deviant Moon deck to try and figure out the side of the person who actually did something to Madeleine. For now, though, we're still on the McCann side. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just... oh, look. Now this says that somebody is focusing greatly on something. The Eight of Pentacles is all about focus, like really diligently working on something. So there is somebody definitely who hasn't given up on this and really trying to figure this out. It could be them as well, that they're also still trying to do things and trying to get to some answers, just not giving it up. And I guess you wouldn't give it up if you had lost a child, particularly a very young one. You would want to know exactly what happened. So this card is at least saying that somebody is still working very hard in this case. Somebody more official, and by official I mean like actually connected to the McCanns and actually connected to law enforcement, that sort of thing, because I believe there are a lot of amateur sleuths that want to solve this case, and it's great that a lot of people are working on this. This might also say that because there are a couple of birds in the background here as well, as you can see. Like usually in the Eight of Pentacles, the people in the background are people who are not as focused as this one, in particular in the foreground. But it might also mean that there are a lot of people focusing on this, because it is a very high level case. Oop, this one wanted to fall. Okay, here we have some profit. So maybe the hard work that this one individual or several individuals are doing are actually paying off. And maybe they're actually onto something with this person that they arrested the other day, or are suspecting the other day. So perhaps that's the profit of all the hard work. Interesting. Now let's see if we can get anything from the perspective of the person who actually knows exactly what happened to her. Okay, so the sun went down. There's a lot of cards right there. Only needed this one though. So the sun is usually like a bright, youthful energy, and I think the sun has definitely gone down. The light has dimmed, which I would expect definitely if you had lost a child, particularly a very young child that was the light of your life, and they decided, or somebody decided to take them from you. That's definitely going to cause for some issues. Could also mean that the world as we know it is going to be a little bit less bright once we figure it out, because who knows who or what is behind it. I'm going to move these guys aside so I can put some more cards down. There we go. Also, we have here the Three of Cups, and it's a reverse, so there's definitely going to be some friendships lost here. I don't know exactly who or what, but maybe the revelation of the case, which I think the Ace of Pentacles here is going to cause for some trouble. There's going to be some darkness, and there's going to be loss of friendships here. And who or what, we don't know. But I was saying perspective of the person who actually took Madeleine. We'd like to hear some more about that. Oop, that one jumped out. This is the High Priestess, which is lying deceit and not doing very much meditating on one's own inner processes. There's definitely some deceit here, some manipulation, some movements in the dark, if you know what I mean. Moon is also very visible here. So there's been some stuff going on in the background that has been hidden from us. Who is doing the hiding and manipulating? Doesn't say, but maybe we'll get something on that. Let's switch to the Deviant Moon while we're at it, because so far we've been getting lots of interesting things, but not very much in the ways of actual answers. Now let's see if I can shuffle this real quick. What can we find out about the person or people who took Madeleine McCann? Okay, so the first thing that comes out is the Ace of Cups in reverse. Now, Ace of Cups in reverse usually means a lack of emotionality, somebody who is able to repress that or has repressed it in somehow, some way. So somebody who is not very in tune or in touch with their emotions. Which I guess you would have to be if you want to hurt a child, so that's not super indicative, but we'll see what else we can get. Oh. Alright, so here we have the Four of Swords, which is laying low, and I think this person is trying to stay out of the spotlight. I don't think this is a reference to where Madeleine is, although it could be very well. It doesn't actually tell us anything about that, obviously. If anything, it'll just say that she's been buried, but we probably figured that out so far. So this person, I would say, who is responsible, lacks emotions, or at least is repressing them, and they are also laying low right now because they probably feel that the pressure is back on, I would think. Oh, we got two of them. Okay, King of Cups. So it is somebody who is normally very emotionally in tune, or at least seems very emotional, very jovial. Yeah, like somebody people would like, which is not a surprise. It could be somebody who's really good at pretending that they're a very nice, gentle person, and that is a reason why they managed to get in touch with her in the first place. Also, we got here the Two of Wands, which is like a new opportunities card. It also speaks of travel, and while it speaks of opportunities and travel, it sounds to me like this is somebody who happened to be there, if you know what I mean, back then. Happened to be there, seemed very friendly, and while he was there, he saw the opportunity to get in touch with Madeleine and perhaps some other kids as well, and took that opportunity to do whatever it is that he did. We don't know that, but I'm saying he, but it could be she, obviously. We don't know that. King of Cups is a male energy, but masculinity, the energy is something that everybody carries within them, so it's not like it has to be a male, but it kind of looks like it. One never knows. Okay, so the next card that comes up is Queen of Pentacles reversed, which is also the card on the top of the deck box, which is funny. So, reversed. Now let's start upright. Queen of Pentacles, somebody who is, it's still a queen, so they want to take care of everybody. They have that femininity, that warmth, etc., but they're very much focused on finances, opportunities, resources, that sort of thing. And in reverse, it's somebody who wants to really take care of people, but can't. They find themselves lacking because they have to spend time on one thing, and that means they don't have enough time for the other. And I think this is a representation of the mother, actually. Like, she wants to take care of the kids, but she's so busy, because I believe they're both doctors of some sort, and they're always very busy, so I'm pretty sure she has some regrets in that regard, that she's always spent so much time working, even though there's like a torn feeling, like, yeah, I was trying to do the best for them by making lots of money, so they would have like a good opportunity later to go to a great school, blah, 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 but I also missed out on a lot of things. I think that's what this is, just showing up as well. I think she's showing up mostly because she feels guilty in that regard. I don't think she shows up as a perpetrator, but since we're shuffling for people who may know what happened to her or something along those lines, I think we're also picking up on anybody who feels any type of guilt in that regard, and that's perhaps why she's showing up as well. Let's see what else we got though, because we don't have the full story yet. Okay, we got a whole stack. Let's take a look what we've got here. Ooh, there's like 6 of them. Alright, next. The Tower Reversed, which is more of an internal conflict. The entire world coming down from the inside. This might be somebody who does not appear to be very emotional from the outside, but it is really wreaking havoc on them. Their whole world has been crashing down. We got the Chariot, so there's a lot of motion going on. There's, especially lately, I guess, a lot of motion. Also could be that there is a lot of moving happening at that time. Like there's, maybe she is taken from the place and they traveled quite a while. They went somewhere in any case. Don't know where, obviously. Well, perhaps we'll find out something else on the rest of these cards. We have here the Empress. Alright, so Empress is a motherly figure. Not looking good in that regard. Don't know how this connection would be made if we don't want to directly blame anybody, but Empress is usually somebody who is authoritative and feminine, and usually the mothering type, somebody who will take care of them, or at least appears to take care of you. And that goes next to the Chariots. Okay. So this is not a great looking combination right here. I don't want to say anything that's like, I don't know, but you can see here something really bad happened, and then there was motion connected to the Empress. Okay. King of Wands in reverse. Now King of Wands is somebody who's very actionable, and in this case it's starting to look like the King of Wands might be the father, and their actions, while probably well-intentioned, were not the right ones, I think. There's even some kids down here, you see that? There's like a whole bunch of them surrounding him. That's not great. So if I were to know nothing about this case, I would have to unfortunately say, and of course this reading is all about entertainment purposes and not actually trying to say anything, but it looks like something happened, the parents know, and then some action was taken, and that was his idea to move somewhere real quick. That's what that's looking like. And there are actually 3 kids surrounding here, and he's got one of them by the hand. Very not great. Okay, so what else do we have here? King of Swords, and then we have a lot of lying. I just didn't pull these myself. This just comes falling out of the tarot deck, so this is how tarot works. No idea. It started to look pretty suspicious, but in any case, so yeah, King of Swords. King of Swords is usually somebody who knows what he wants and who speaks very clearly and has a lot of authority in that regard. And the King of Swords in reverse is somebody who is lying, or at least will attempt to be manipulative through words, spinning the facts and things like that. At least in this lineup, that is what is shown to me. Also interesting that you see like this little person sitting there with a globe. That's interesting, right? Like, where in the world could they be? Who knows? I'm gonna tell you where they are. They're right there. And then it turns out not to be the case. It's like, not great. And then we have here the Two of Swords, which is literally being of 2 minds. And looking at this card, the first thing that comes to mind with me is the Empress over here and the King of Wands having some struggles internally between the 2 of them. Not in front of the cameras, in other words, and they're not really sure how to handle that, and they're still struggling behind the scenes. There's literally being of 2 minds and trying to make a decision. They each have their own sword, they have their own reasons for doing it one way or the other, and so far neither has actually won. Okay. Right. I think we're done here. We've got quite a lot of interesting things coming up over here. We had, if I just move everything out of the way for a second, up and down. Oops, not much space here for that actually. But we started off with the outward situation, at least for the parents. with the struggle with the Seven of Wands here, people coming for them. You got your judgment from the people around them, feeling very bad with the Ten of Swords. Then we have here the Page of Swords, a lot of hasty actions, a lot of hasty words, and High Priestess also trying to hide things. So it's like this is basically what's going on right now. And then we have here the Seven of Pentacles, not really sure what or whether the investment that they made was any good. Seven of Cups, or rather Six of Cups for the lost childhood. A lot of focus and the result of that, which is going to expose a few things and break up some friendships along the way. Then we get to the most damning part, I guess. Of course, we're not saying anything because obviously we don't have any evidence of anything, so can't say anything anyway. Ace of Cups over here refers to looking at somebody who is very emotionally withheld, also taking a break, like withdrawing from things. The King of Cups is somebody who is at least outwardly emotional and well balanced in that regard. Next to the Two of Wands, which is all about opportunities, perhaps also some travel, like there was the opportunity to do something. And then you have the Queen of Pentacles here, unable to do what she does best, can't focus on one or the other fully because she's trying too much to do on one end or the other. Next we got the Tower over here, which is a lot of course internal struggles and something really bad happening, the status quo being broken down literally. And then there's a lot of movement from the Empress and the King of Wands, followed by the King of Swords, also in reverse, and then being of two minds, divided about certain things. Interesting. As with all tarot readings, doesn't actually say this guy did it with the candelabra in the library, etc. But you know how tarot works. And as you can see, we've got a lot of food for thought here. Hope you enjoyed that. Thought it was interesting at the very least. I don't know if you can enjoy something like this, but be sure to leave your comments in the comment section below. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, what you think about this lineup. Maybe there are certain card lineups that I read a certain way that you think should be read another way. And in any case, I hope to see you for another video next time. Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.